What is going on, everyone? It is Core, and it's story time. Already, we're gonna start the second video of this series with my first manifestation story that I have, and this is before anything that I know now. This is back when this would have been my second semester in college, community college, which technically wasn't a community college because they had 4-year degrees, but it was before that. In Miami, the Miami-Dade, formerly community college, now it's just the Miami-Dade College. That's where I was at the time. I was in Miami. For all of y'all that don't know that I lived in Miami, I lived in Miami 2 different times actually. One time while I was in college. And that is when I got my first manifestation, which this is when The Secret was very popular. And I knew nothing about Neville Goddard, which a lot of what I'm going to share in the future will come from that. I knew nothing about Alan Watts. I knew nothing about Zen Atman. I knew nothing about myself. I knew nothing about my environment. I knew nothing about my conscious and subconscious and how everything operates. I wasn't even in nature at that point. I was playing video games for 10 hours a day and watching TV during that and waking up early, getting Dunkin' Donuts. Things that I would not even fathom to do now. Yet, it doesn't stop you from manifesting something when you choose to. That's what the story's going to be about. Because the one thing that I did have, which I always had through my childhood, was a vivid imagination. I used to just daydream in school. I would get, the teachers would have to get my attention because I would just stare off in my mind, visualizing a whole entire event. Clearly, because I didn't want to be in school. And that maintained for the most part for me up until I started to really get into the work environment. But during this time I was in Miami, I still had that very strong visualization, which is very important when you are looking to manifest something, to bring something forth, to create. You have to have something in your mind of what it is, in your imagination. You have to create it, visualize it within that realm before you bring it out here. It all happens inside before you externalize it. And I had known about The Secret book. I did not read books then. At that point, I probably hadn't read a book since fully 4th grade. And so I knew what the book was. I knew kind of what was in it. But I didn't do anything with it, and the only reason I really knew is because my grandma had brought it up to me before I had went to Miami. Now, what really brought on this manifestation, which was for an automobile, and it was a teacher I had. It was a certain class I had, which I don't remember what it was exactly. The birds, but it was about self-improvement. So she taught us how to relax ourselves. She taught us how to relax our muscles, how to not care what other people think. She would show us she would do face exercises in the car, and she would show us how she would do them, and people would look at her as if she's weird. And she said that if they looked at her weird, then she'd pick her nose just to make her more uncomfortable. So this is the type of person, entity, being that was teaching me about manifestation somewhat. Which I really enjoyed this class because the stuff that she was showing us was very hands-on, and I took a lot out of this class for myself because it is very it's simple things that can change how you feel instantly, and that's how she explained and taught the class, and that's how she even taught what at that time the secret was to us. I didn't know there was actually a documentary that was made as well. She showed us the documentary, which apparently isn't the same as the book from what I've gathered, but it's the same principle where it's all based on visualization and having vision boards and visualizing in your mind and engulfing yourself in that experience, which we watched that. And then she also told us some of her manifestation successes regarding, one of them was she had horses. She didn't have any money to get hay for the horses, and there was a man, she had got $20, and she was able to get hay for her horses at that point. It just worked out for her because she knew it was going to. She didn't worry about it. The other one that she had shared with us was in regard to an automobile. She was sharing how she actually went to the dealership, got in the automobile just so she could test drive it and feel physically, smell it with all of her senses how it is, which that's the part that I really took a hold of, because that made sense to me, because I can do that in my mind. I was very good at that. So at that point, I had a Jeep, a white Jeep, Grand Cherokee, and I decided I wanted a Honda Civic. This is 2006. Honda had just changed the body style of the Civic to being more sporty looking, and they had, the coupe was very sporty looking. I wanted a black two-door Honda Civic, and I put the background on my computer. I did not actually make a vision board because I actually seen that as pointless. And from people I have talked to, they also had gathered that that was not that helpful to them, that the most important thing to do was visualize it in your mind and to actually feel it. So that's what I did, which this part isn't really, from what I gathered, taught in The Secret, is that full you feeling with all your senses what you look to manifest. And I would every day, as much as I really could when I wasn't doing something else, which I was still playing video games for extended hours every day and doing other things, but in between all of that, when I was in the automobile, if I was in the passenger seat, sometimes when I was in school, when I was laying down to rest even, I would do this. I would visualize myself in the Honda Civic. And one of the ways that I was able to do this in such a profound way is there was actually a car show that had came to Miami right around this time. And I had my mom take me to that car show so that I could get in the Civic and sit in it and actually feel it and see everything, all the different instruments in it, all the different, the steering wheel, how the dash is laid out, how the seats are, everything. I got in the back seat, I was looking in the trunk, I was looking in the hood. I inspected the car thoroughly at the car show. And I took all of that and brought that into my visualization. So what I would do would visualize myself traveling around on open roads. No one around, just open roads. I'm the only one. And I would just hone in on all my senses. And the acceleration, feeling that, the sensation against my body, feeling the steering wheel, feeling the pedal, hearing it, the vroom of the engine. I looked up even what the sound was, so I could actually hear what that was, because they can't turn the automobile on in the car show. I guess they could. They do sometimes. But the ones that they have out there, those ones that they don't. And at this point, I hadn't went to a dealership yet, which I'll get to that point. So I was visualizing this very frequently, which if you watched the last video, I talked about frequency. This became my frequency because I was so honed in on this occurring. And me being in it. I didn't know how I was getting, I had no idea. I didn't even have a thought towards or care how I was getting it, because my life at that point, I was used to getting things that without really knowing how they were coming. I would definitely say I have had a privileged childhood. I definitely got many things that I look to have, which now I see why, because I chose it. I wanted that stuff and I manifested it. But back then, I was just in a situation where I would get many things that I wanted at that time. So I was used to those things just coming to me, and I expected the same. I expected no different. So one day, while I'm doing this in the automobile, me and my mom are passing a Honda dealership, and she asked me if I want to go in there, which we were in my Jeep at that time, but she was the one in the captain's seat, and I guess that would be, what would that be? The captain's seat's actually the passenger seat, but the captain doesn't actually steer the ship. I don't know what that is. Anyways, she's maneuvering the automobile, and she asked me if I want to go there to see the Honda Civic, because I'd mentioned this to her before. I'd asked her to take me to the dealership before. I wasn't expecting to do it right now because we were doing something else and we just happened to be passing it. And she asked me if I wanted to go there to test drive it, and she said we'll see what they say. So we did. We went and see what they say. Well, to clearly say what happened, I left with a new car. I got the black Honda Civic that I wanted. Traded in the Jeep, got a Honda Civic. I had, at this point, I had no work. I had no income. The only money I got was from mostly my grandparents just giving me stuff to have, some money to have, just to have. I usually had something. I had enough for me to do what I was doing. I didn't do a lot back then. Because I play a lot of video games. I watched a lot of TV. I was on the computer constantly. I would mostly only go to random places around and get some food and stuff. So I didn't have an abundance of money. So I wasn't buying this thing. I wasn't paying the payments on it. I wasn't paying the payments on my Jeep, because the deal was my mom was going to, as long as I was going to college. I wasn't expecting her to trade that in for something that cost even more, though, and was going to have a longer loan on it. But it happened. We went in there. We got the perfect salesperson, because he was someone that my mom was attracted to. So, which my mom's also a salesperson, so it's not as if she was, or if we were being swindled or something, but they talked a lot, basically. They ended up going on dates afterwards, even, which, I used to bring my car there to get it detailed for free because of that. I could bring it there whenever I wanted. And we drove it, sat down, went through the sales process. This is when leases were really big, getting really big. again, 2007 probably, and 2007 or 2008 it had to have been. And I ended up getting a lease on the Civic, which I ended up buying out at the end of the lease anyways, which we always figured we were going to do, but doing the lease made the payments less, and the buyout only ended up being a few $1,000s at the end, which I actually ended up trading it in before that for another automobile that I wanted. Whole nother story. But I got precisely what I had visualized. No compromises, no thought of how I was getting it. I wasn't concerned with how it was going to get paid for. And this is a automobile that's $25K if you were to walk off the lot with it without any interest on it. That, for most people and children, they could not fathom how that would happen. But because my mind wasn't set in a way to where things were off limits, because I was in a situation where there was always money around me. I wouldn't, well, at this point, I would say there's some wealthy people in my family that I grew up with, for sure. And I was always around that. So my mind was never constricted by finance means until I really started to work myself. And it just still didn't completely close my mind off. But of course, it changes how you react with things, because now you're actually paying for things, you're actually managing the money. You got to do the budgeting idea in some way, shape, or form, whether you're actually looking to budget or whether it's just what comes out of it. I had none of that, which is what allowed this to manifest so profound. And that is exactly what everyone needs to do in their visualizations. You need to take all of those concepts that I just gave and bring that into your feeling. It needs to impress you so that you can express it in a way that it seems as if you are doing it, because you are doing it. Because your imagination is nothing more than a reflection to your environment. Your mind is nothing more than what is around you. It's all here. And having those strong senses of what you are looking to manifest completely alter your ability to, because you're truly experience it at that point. And when you truly experience it, something in your imagination, you are going to experience it in your physical surroundings. And at some point, I will do a meditation video and I'll show that to you. I will give you something that you are going to manifest, and you will go do it because of how I will provide this meditation to you. We'll get there, but that is how simple it is. It's not, there's nothing hard about it. Your environment is just a simulation, and a simulation just means reflection. Means reflect, which something that's reflecting is what it is originally, which reflect means to bend light. So you're re-bending light. That's what fleck means, it's the bending of light. When you reflect something, you're turning it back on itself. So you're just looking at yourself. Everything around you is yourself. That's all it is. It's all it ever has been. It's all it ever will be, because that's all it ever can be, because that's all that exists is you. That's why I was able to manifest this so easily, because it was just me. And I didn't realize that at the time, but now I do. And that's why I wanted to take this time to share this story with everyone, so that you can see how how simple it is to manifest this. You don't need anything besides your mind. That's it. Your mind, focus, and your ability to feel and to sustain that feeling. That's it. If you can do that, you can go anywhere. I'll leave that here for this video. In the next one, we'll be talking about the past and trauma and how that will affect and derail your manifestations. We'll get into that and how to stop that. For now though, everyone, take what I said. Pick something. Maybe it's something simple. Maybe you're looking to have a certain fruit or a particular type of meal. Maybe you want to go hiking. Maybe you want to go to the beach. Whatever it is that you want to do, start visualizing yourself being there. Just simple experiences, and then realize that when you are there, that you did this, that you actually manifested this because of your visualization of it and seeing yourself there. Everything we do is based on our own visualizations and what we hold on to within inside ourselves. That's all of our experience. That's all that we experience. It's us. Everything is us. Everything is us pushed out. That is it for this video, everyone. Have a wonderful day ahead.